I used to see Connie Smith in the hallway of the Grand Ole Opry when I would visit out there or something, and if I was in good shape, I'd make sure she saw me, but if I was in bad shape, I'd duck around the corner because I didn't want her to see me, because I had a lot of respect for her. And there was a knock on the dressing room door, and here's Connie Smith. She said, "Can I talk to you?" Well, of course. She said, "I've not paid any attention to making records in about 20 years. I wanted my babies to be raised, and my last baby just went off to college." And she said, one of them on the way out the door said, "Mom, what are you going to do with your life now?" She said, "So I've been thinking about making a record." And she has told this story. She said, "I was trying to think of who is current and relevant and understands what's going on now, but also understands the old world of country music, and especially who I am and the kind of music I made." She said, "So will you consider producing me?" And I'm going, "Well, let's keep talking." And I said, "Do you write?" She said, "Some." I said, "Well, everybody knows you can sing, but you need to write." So I said, "Let me go to work on this." And so I called Harlan Howard. And I guess what we would call my first date with Connie, me and Harlan and Connie wrote a shuffle. And Connie and I kept writing songs, thinking we were going to make a record. But all of a sudden, we started writing love songs. And she started singing these songs. We would just put them down. And the more she sang, the more my heart started remembering what I told my mother on the way home that night when I was 12 years old. I'm going, "You're crazy. Shut up. Go away." And I'd write it out on paper. I thought, this does not line up. This does not line up. And I was just fighting it and resisting it and my feelings. And so I did what any wise son would do if you're Hilda Stewart's boy. I called Mama one day. I said, "Mom, I need to come talk to you." And I laid out everything I was feeling and just all the impossibilities and just how ridiculous it all looked on paper. And she let me get it all out. And she said, "Well, son," she said, "5 minutes of the right thing is better than 50 years of the wrong thing." And I went, case closed. So I remember calling Connie and I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "No." I said, "Meet me." "Where are you?" "I'm going to Kroger." "Meet you in the Kroger parking lot in Brentwood." So we went and found each other. I found her in the Kroger parking lot sitting in her car, and she talks all the time. So she started talking. I said, "Shut up and come here," and I kissed her. And I thought she was going to slap my head off, and then she looked at me. She said, "Let's do that again." I went, "Yeah." So that's how we got started in the Kroger parking lot. It had really come to that point, like we either need to get married or we need to do something different. And I knew it was time, and I think she says it. I said, "Go find that rock that your birth certificate is carved on, and we'll do something about it." And old romantic me, that's her version. I don't remember, so we'll have to go with her version. But we wanted to get married at a place that had nothing to do with show business. And so the Lakota people, I call Pine Ridge, South Dakota. So we wound up on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation on a dirt road next to a buffalo pasture. We were going to get married at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The night before, we went to a sweat lodge, and did basically, which is a prayer meeting. And after it was over, Marvin Helper, the medicine man, said, "You're going to need help here." I went, "I know." He said, "If you see an eagle tomorrow, you're in good shape." On the way to get married, an eagle flew over. And as the eagle flew over, I swear to you, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs came on the radio singing the Ballad of Jed Clampett. And when it was time for the service, there was the most beautiful cloud you've ever seen. It was so hot. It just came, and it was like an umbrella over us. And when the ceremony was over, I had some tapes made at that time, cassette tapes. We went up on the butte, and lightning was flashing in every direction, and it didn't make one sound. And we played songs and we danced, and that's how we started our marriage.